So if you're buying a home or planning to, here's something that most buyers don't realize until it's way too late. Many offers are lost before the price is even discussed. Not because the buyer did anything wrong, but because the realtor didn't position them properly ahead of time. My name is Michael Hausam. I'm an active real estate broker here in Southern California. I've been licensed for nearly 25 years, and before that, I spent a decade in the mortgage business, first job out of college. I'm also the founder of House Advantage Academy, where I help realtors become better realtors. So here's the reality. Homes are sold by human beings. Listing agents and home sellers are human beings. They don't just look at numbers, they look at risk and confidence and how smooth they think a transaction is going to be. And sometimes they look at the buyers involved, the realtor, the clients themselves, more than just the price. Now, strong buyers don't just appear out of nowhere at offer time. They're positioned early if it's done correctly, and that's way before an offer is written. A good agent is going to be proactive to make sure that the buyer and the offer are prepared and the groundwork is laid before it is ever discussed. This includes things like clear communication with the listing agent before the offer is ever made, reducing uncertainty around the financing if it's not an all-cash deal, making sure the buyer understands how they're going to be perceived by the seller. Now, this isn't manipulation, it's preparation. A seller's going to want to work with somebody who's organized and serious and low risk. When the buyers aren't positioned this way, even a strong price can lose a deal. Now, I've helped numerous buyers win homes without being the highest bidder. In the last year, I've actually had 3 of them, and 2 of my buyers were competing against all cash buyers. So how did I do that? How does a financed buyer who offers less actually get the house? It's because the seller and the listing agent wanted me and my clients in that transaction. And as a buyer, you should expect your agent to explain how they're going to do this for you, how they're going to position you and position themselves before you ever write the offer. Now, if that conversation never happens, then you're just relying on luck. Now, understanding this protects you from frustration and unnecessarily overpaying for a house. In my business, I call it buyer staging. Okay. Now, of course, everybody understands what home staging is. It's the effort that a seller or a builder goes through to make the house as attractive as possible for a potential buyer. Does it play on emotion? Of course it does. These are homes. We're not talking about a commercial building or an apartment complex where it's just financial analysis and return on investment and crunching numbers. It's human beings. And buyer staging is the same thing as home staging, but I just flip it on its head. My goal with staging my buyers is to get the listing agent and the seller to want me and my clients to get the house. And any agent that you're talking to should have some sort of process to set you up in the same manner. Now, there's a handful of different aspects to this. The first part is the professionalism of the agent. I've literally had listing agents call me and tell me that they were very concerned about the knowledge and the experience of a competing agent. The agent and the sellers in these cases, they're basically thinking that the other agent didn't have any idea what they were doing. Now, they never told me exactly what it was, but basically they wanted me in the transaction because they had a sense that I knew what I was doing versus the other agent. In that case, those buyers, they lost a chance at a house before the sellers even looked at their number because their agent didn't inspire confidence. Now, good for my clients, of course, but these folks, they had no idea what happened. And they probably had the same difficulty on the next house that they tried to buy. A pro agent is going to take the time up front and make sure that the listing agent is confident in them, their experience, their knowledge, and their skill. Now, it only takes a few minutes to talk shop and to establish that kind of credibility, but it's got to be planned and strategic and part of the system and the process. Another part is your appeal, you as the buyer. Believe it or not, some sellers care deeply who's going to be buying and living in their house. Any interaction that you as a buyer might have with the listing agent or the seller could make or break the deal. So I had a transaction years ago where we're meeting with the listing agent and the seller to present our offer and discuss it, okay? Now in this case, the seller was the daughter of the original owners who bought the house over 50 years earlier. Her folks had passed away and she was selling the family home for the benefit of the trust to distribute to her siblings. So in this particular case, we are at a sticking point in the negotiations, and the listing agent and I were going back and forth. We're arguing about the price and other terms, and it was getting difficult. So I was talking to my clients, and the seller themselves walked up to us, and she said, "Hey, I just told John to accept the offer that you originally made. I talked to my brothers after realizing that you guys are exactly the same as my parents were when they bought this house. I was a little girl, my brother was just a few months old, and it was like a new version of my family that's going to be moving into our house. Decades later, repeating the past. We think that is so special. Congratulations." I'm literally getting chills as I'm talking about it because that's exactly what happened. Now, there are a couple more aspects to buyer staging that are important, which I can go into later, especially when financing is involved. But these can all be strategies that are so much more important than just the number or the price or the terms in the contract. And if it's not done right, you'll end up paying more for the house, or maybe you won't even get it in the first place. A good agent knows this and takes steps to position you and themselves in the best possible way. And this is exactly what Fix My Realtor exists to do, to help you understand home buying at a level that most agents don't even know. For more guidance on this, on how to get your realtor to make sure that you get the right house at the right price in the timing that's right for you, either go to fixmyrealtor.com, click on the link below in the description, and then definitely watch the next video that's coming up right below me here. I made it just for you.